Mike, what's always been your approach to block out the noise from the outside, guys, for mass media nationally and locally, to the guys in the clubhouse?
I think it's just real important to understand first the opportunity to say some things that can make a positive difference on our team and the community and for the game. I think that always needs to be in the forefront of everybody's mind. And the only information I give the guys is let's use this as a platform to help build our team, build the game, build up our teammates, and our community. If you do that, you keep that in mind, you know that probably going in the right direction. And the other stuff, we just got to do everything we can to avoid as many distractions as possible. And distractions that sometimes venting can lead to maybe some outside pressure and noise that you didn't necessarily want to necessarily have to deal with. So it's a huge responsibility that actually most guys aren't probably properly trained how to handle some of these bigger questions that go outside of even our own clubhouse.
And it's a different game with social media and whatnot. Do you have a message for the guys when it comes to
exact
that stuff?
Exact same thing. It's kind of that message. Who are we building up here? And and it's tough too because there's obviously getting likes, getting followers. I mean, that's part of the culture that we're in. That's their life. I mean, that's all they know. But just be real careful. Be real careful that you don't bring something onto yourself that maybe you didn't ask for or didn't want. And also how that might affect how we're going about our business as a group.
Mike, how's Mondesi's progress, and have you had put any limitations on him through camp at all? Or?
Yeah, everything has been about protecting that shoulder, so it's been a little bit slowed on the right-hand swing side and definitely limited on diving. And so that's kind of our focus, and that's following really the protocol from the surgeon. Is everything really good? You watching him out here take swings. He's taking some live swings from the left side. He'll progress on the right. Doing everything he needs to defensively, and put him in positions where even out of instinct he's not going to be able to dive. So that'll slow us a little bit maybe on the big field, but we can do maybe more controlled reps out here on the field where he can get on his feet, have it, the pace of the game, the speed kind of mimicked a little bit through a live simulation. But I think he's got a real good feel of what he should and shouldn't be doing right now as far as the dives go. It's fun to watch him do it. Risk reward, we're going to have to continue to talk him through what that might look like through this season.
Competitors, he wants to be there for opening day. How do you kind of you've talked about pumping the brakes, you guys pumping the brakes, and you're talking to a player who's so competitive and wants to be out there. How do you kind of pull that guy back?
You talking opening day for spring?
Yeah, no, opening day for opening day.
Plan on that working. Okay. Yeah, and everything is leading in that direction. That's what he's worked so hard. I was really impressed. Not that just he stayed in Kansas City for the winter, but the amount of work he put in, and he was very disciplined. And part of that was, hey, I'll do this. And my sights are set. I'll be ready to go on opening day. So when I say he's going to be slowed out here, everything's still pointing in a direction that we'll see him out here in these games, not too far down the road, but just not Friday. And we'll just follow what the doctors say on that.
Mike, to piggyback off of that, when you're talking to the docs and the training staff, how much of that is you going with what they say versus what your players tell you in your gut when you're looking at a player coming off an injury?
Well, I love trusting their gut, and when the doctors give us the freedom to have the player trust their gut, we make that part of the equation, but not until there's a really good system in place, and these guys have been doing it for a long time. There's very few of these surgeries will we ever come across where there's not some sort of protocol to know this is kind of how this should progress. And so we just keep jumping those hurdles, keeping the players informed. You can't help but look at them, like all day long. Like, what was that? I thought you had control. That's yours, Swanee. But it really, we can't push beyond, no matter what their instincts say. And these guys aren't fighting that. And they will be honest with the docs. They will be honest with the training staff and myself and say, hey, I think I'm ready for this. We bounce it off the medical team. We get clearance. And then we go. we have too much information, too many smart people, too many experts in their area that are going to kind of give us some guardrails of where we can go and where we should stay away from.
Sonny, his work would be early in spring training games.
Once same conversation, and so he's really close, and so he will be catching as soon as they give us green light, and they've given us kind of an idea as long as everything keeps progressing. We have still a checklist. We're trying to mirror every possible throw he'll have, and so we're getting through that on his throw days. He's ahead of schedule, really, just by following the normal plan for rehabbing. He's done a lot of throwing, so his arm looks great. We just want to make sure there's no strange, awkward movement that he hasn't practiced that he's not ready for. But we're getting at-bats right away. You'll see his bat in there first day, and after that, we'll be excited when we watch him get back behind the plate, but it's soon.
I know it's just been a few days, but you guys invited 26 non-roster, and 23 of them were part of the organization last year. It's a broad question, but have any of those stood out to you initially in the couple of days that you've been here?
Yeah, predictable answer. All in the urgency more than anything else. And there's some guys who are a little further along. There's no question. But what we see back here on the pens and lives, it's a step. Each one adds a little bit more pressure, adds a little bit more of a demand from them, and then it gets to the point where the next step is going to be a game out here. And so a lot of it, you see stuff, you see a little bit of their composure, you see their mound presence, but you just can't replicate major league competition, and so that's why we're so excited and ready for Friday.
Mike, you talked a lot about competition, right? That having the competition out here, but this organization's kind of done a little bit different than maybe some of the other ones have as they're trying to. I know you don't like the word rebuild, but they've kept some of the veteran guys. Whit Merrifield, there's conversations about Danny Duffy, Salvador Perez, they've been there. How important is it for those guys to be there to show the way for the young players, and maybe not have to bat a young guy 2 or 3 the first days in the big leagues?
Yeah, it's huge to be able to have those voices and so many different things. And once again, we're having lots of conversations about a number of different topics, and I believe that those are valuable conversations, but none of it holds more weight than what the other players who've been through this are currently doing. That voice inside the clubhouse is just ultimately important for us. And so to have guys that are going about their business like they are, you brought up a number of names of guys that are having a lot of success in the game, and these younger players are watching them real close. The best situation we can have is our best players are the ones that are out here doing things the right way and working the hardest, and I think that's what we've seen this spring.
Do you believe that a young guy comes out, whoever might be, that dumping him in at the top of the lineup, or is it like you got to kind of earn your way up to the top of the lineup once you get here?
Yeah, it's all about what the need of the team is, and there is some skill in different spots in the lineup. There's definitely psychology to it, and trying to figure out every single day, and not just the lineup, but where do they come in and pitch? How could this guy? Sometimes it's by necessity. We need you to step into this spot because that's where we are as a club. There's other times where we try and soft serve them as best we can, and then add, just like we're doing in spring training, we add a little bit more to them as they seem ready for it. But there's other times you just got to throw them in, and you let them know the why of why we're doing this, and see how they go. But ideally, I think most young players, you'd like for them not to feel that they have the weight of the entire organization on them the day that they get either to Major League Spring Training or into the Major League Championship season.
Like guys that are starting pitchers, that's where you want them to be, right? But do you like the guys coming up and maybe getting a shot for just an inning, a couple innings, batters only seen them once, or you like the idea if you're a starter, hey, you're going to start once you get to the big leagues?
Yeah, we've seen it both, and I think a lot of those conversations happen with our development group. Who do you think really needs, it's more about the preparation. Who needs that very structured amount of time, and they're so methodical on how and routine oriented that it may take away from their ability to be able to handle the bullpen. But we've seen it on both sides. Guys who come up and jumped right in the bullpen in whatever role, and realized that they could probably add on to that in the future and had success, and then still knowing that down the road they'll probably start. But we've also thrown guys right in, once again, what's the need of the team. There are times somebody goes down, we need a starter, and we might not have a bullpen built up to where somebody else could do it. So Seen it work both ways. I think it's so individualized on how the guys are made up more than anything else.
Mike, Trevor Rosenthal, you reunited with him. What's the progress? I know coming back from injury, but what's his progress that you've seen?
He's throwing the ball great. Yeah, he looks very fluid. His range of motion looks right. I think people, we all forget how much has to happen after injury and that rehab process and finding your rhythm and what it should look like, feel like. And there's a number of guys that we could have that conversation about. The first thing is they're just trying to prove that they're healthy, and they're working hard, and they're in the weight room, and it's all about health. And sometimes you see some maybe not so tight when you start talking about location and consistency, because all it's been about is I want to be healthy. And so it's a process. And watching a few guys here, probably in that same conversation, who are now taking that next step towards making not just healthy pitches, but quality pitches, and that's where Trevor is now.
Would Brad Keller be one of those pitchers as well?
His has just been really maturity and understanding the role and taking that next step forward. I mean, his whole road here has been incredible. As a Rule 5 guy, bullpen, as you were talking about, Sven, and figuring out late in the season he could handle making that jump in the starting rotation last year, being the opening day guy. I mean, there's just a learning curve in everything that these guys do, and he's answered the bell well every time, and looking forward to him taking that next step.
Coach, you made it a point in the offseason to try and eliminate that learning curve with getting to know your players. How would you assess the communication between yourself and them at this point now in spring training?
They like it or not, I mean, they're going to hear from me every day. I believe in management by walking around, so I want to touch point with every one of them. There's a whole bunch of them, so I got to kind of keep on top of that. But for the most part, just being available, and hope that happens organically. But at least they'll see my face each day and get an opportunity, at least just to give them an opportunity also to tell me what's on their mind. If there's something they're not getting, they'd like to see more of. Those conversations happen pretty much throughout the day, and it's been good. It's been good. I mean, there's always that awkwardness that office has. I mean, you try to get rid of it, but I think you're asking for the impossible. I mean, it's just try to build that relationship to where they can be open and honest, and vice versa. But it just takes time.